Because with the...
Yeah. So I think set mid lane for Nuke Duck, and with the cannon locked in, that's almost surely confirmed here. We'll wait till the final pick, of course, but Quinn into Renekton is no slouch in the top lane, so really devastating matchup. Now they've got the Kennen in here too, which when combined with a Zilean is so nasty, because let me tell you, when you're playing Kennen and Zilean presses E on you, you have the freest team fight of your entire life. It is so much fun. You zoom into the back line, Ezreal isn't going to be able to escape from you, Corki's not going to be able to escape from you, so I really like this idea. Now I just feel like we need Xerxes on like a primary initiator, which is where the Sejuani steal away is going to hurt him, because there aren't a ton of great options left with the Jarvan and the Gragas band away.
Go for Vi. Come on, lock in the Vi, press the ultimate, and then throw everybody else. No, I am kidding, of course, not going to be the case.
Oh, it's Set jungle!
Cassie... Oh, so Cassiopeia mid, Set jungle?
Okay. This is really interesting here. So, Set jungle hasn't really caught on a lot in Europe. I've seen it played over in the LPL a bit. I've seen it played in NA for a couple of games as well. It's an interesting one because Set, let's be real, isn't the most insane jungler. Like, he clears his jungle all right, but he doesn't have the most ridiculous ganks. Expect Xerxes to go for the Predator boots on this as his rune choice, because that does enable him to do something in the early game if he does want. But what Set is very good at is actually diving towers, because of that W grit pass. When you pop that, he can take super well. And when you lock someone under a tower, well, it doesn't matter how slow Set is, you can't run away from him if he's coming in from behind you. So I actually think this is a game where Xerxes is going to try and put attention around the top lane. If it's not diving for Alphari, it is buying him space to try and build up a CS lead in this matchup and get turret plates. This is a really good switch up from OG. I like it a lot. Now, that being said, Rogue have a lot of good tools as well. It's just because Origen are changing things, I'm more excited for them coming into game 2.
Yeah, but like this feels like a huge change to me. This look, everything about it just doesn't. It's caught me so off guard. I'm almost at a loss for words. We'll find out how it plays out in just a moment as Rogue take on OG. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I forgot that video was coming, and I was trying to like filter my thoughts. And the producers spoke to me, and I nearly died. So now we're in game. Right, Ender.
And
I
you're
understand. Yes, I am indeed. I'm alive. This is not Zombie Trevor coming to you from Berlin, Germany. I want to set some expectations, right? In the previous game, I was super stoked that, Andy, you called the way Finn likes to play the game with his teleports. We had an Ornn versus Renekton. Finn got the bot lane ahead, and then Rogue played to the bot lane. That's kind of what we expect. Now, Finn versus Alphari in a sort of a lane bully matchup. Xerxes on this jungle set some like expectations of how you think the next 3 to 5 minutes will play out, and let's try to track them.
Yeah, so pretty much I feel like Origen have a lot of strong lanes early on. You know, we talked about the top lane, especially with the Conqueror Kennen is looking to bully this lane very hard. Now, that being said, when you have like a lane bully in the top lane, sometimes you think like, hey, can we try to set up a dive against the Renekton? Well, first 3 levels, I'm not sure that Xerxes is actually going to get super aggressive with anything like that on the set. As you can see, he's going for the Predator boots, so you probably would expect him to look for the gank in the window of maybe the 4 to 6 minute mark after he goes for a full clear himself. The other thing is, because both junglers are starting on their blue buff, they're going to end their clears on opposite sides of the jungle, which does mean that Alphari should be very free up on the top side of the map. And even though what you're seeing from Inspired looks like really troll, it's like, why would he just press W on the wolves and then walk away? He's actually getting a lot of healing from his Hunter's Talisman just by proccing it all of those 3. So he's not trolling. That's totally fine. But this one seems like first few levels is going to be relatively quiet, because in the jungle, Xerxes is falling down decently low here, so the dive not on the cards for this one.
Okay, not yet. I'm not going to let it go by the wayside. I would imagine that Alfari on a cannon, it's a pick we've seen him in the past, would be interested. He's already got 11 CS to 3. There's a wave and a half sitting in front of Finn, who's going to clear that out. Cassio versus Corki. Nukeduck running the teleport on that mid lane. I would expect for the first few levels, Cassio being able to kind of shove a little bit, but then once the AoE starts kicking in, Corki on this little pug will be able to push right back, and potentially this could be a roaming pick. We talked a lot about Larsen's champion pool, and you specifically called out his Kiana, how he likes to play around the map and impact things.
Sure.
Once that package is picked up, I can see Larsen running to a Renekton or an Ezreal Yuumi lane.
Yeah, I mean, looking around the package windows is definitely going to be an opportunity for him if he's able to team up with Inspired and make some plays happen. I actually think when there's a Ken in the game, like, I would want to use that towards top lane almost exclusively, because as soon as Renekton can get like a kill or two in this matchup, Kennen doesn't have flash, all of a sudden Kennen can't really punish you at all in this lane. For now, it's going to be very dominant. I would like to pivot back to the jungle real quickly, because Xerxes' path was super interesting. It looked very standard, but because Inspired went buff into his Krugs and then back towards topside, and he had a ward on Inspired, he actually got the bot side Scuttle Crab. Now he's getting the top side Crab as well, and is trying to track Inspired. So he knows Inspired is on the top side of the jungle. That's why Alfari is playing relatively safe. That's why Xerxes is back up here. And this is what Xerxes loves to do, is path around the enemy jungle, find him out, and then start to get things happening.
Somebody's going to get punched in the face.
He has smite, and he has level advantage too, so he should land the smite.
And he does indeed. Xerxes sneaks in, currently double the CS. We'll have to see what the gold equivalent works out to. Alfari, 12 CS up on Finn. And as it starts, OG straight out the gate. Xerxes playing a new look champion to a degree. We have seen the set jungle, you mentioned it in other leagues, but Xerxes was once particularly famous for playing and bringing new picks to the LEC stage and showing what they can do at this level, which is why I'm so excited to see what he can do on the set jungle.
Yeah, I'm sure, you probably remember like the Ivern back in the day, but
yes.
He was playing Hecarim at Worlds last year. Last year too, I think he was our first Kiana jungle as well, right when she came out too. So definitely one to experiment. And I am very much of the opinion that Set is not like an OP jungler by any means. I don't think anyone would believe that, but as a flex option, it is very good. Now 4 to 6 minutes. I said gank with your boots. Here it comes, Trevor.
Ding, ding, ding! The magic crystal ball from Ender is flawless, and Xerxes dive. Correction, gank is flawless as well. I mean, it does not get more simple than that. Finn used everything on a trade, Xerxes just walked in and punched him in the head.
Yeah, and that play actually started a minute before that, actually, because Alfari had pushed the wave up towards Finn's tower and had the option to keep pushing it in, but he decided, no, I'm only going to last hit the minions. I'm not going to auto-attack away at the wave. It ended up building up this big wave in, so Finn was overextended without having a reset, so no items coming through for him just yet, and he's stuck up in this lane trying to push the wave in. Then Xerxes shows up, and Inspired is bot side. Why does Xerxes know Inspired is bot side? Well, it's because he went top to bot initially, meaning his Krugs, his Raptors were respawning, and none of his topside camps were available. So Xerxes knew with like 99.99% certainty that Inspired could not be there, and it was the easiest gank of his life.
And you said this in game one. Xerxes sees all options. He's a jungler that tends to be very informed. Does he make the aggressive choices? Often no, but he's very informed, very aware. And I'm going to bring our attention down to this bottom lane as Destiny trying to farm on Zillion is one of the most difficult tasks in playing League of Legends. His auto attack animation is horrible. And while Upset steps forward to try get a trade onto Hamsama, I think it's
Xerxes
baited them
6.
forward.
He's level
They've
6.
done it. He's going to be able to get the body slam. The suplex is available, and Xerxes, he reads the play. Will get the flash out of Hamsama, but that was a fantastic pot, and honestly, a pretty good bait by Upset too.
Yeah, that was a good play, and again, notice the lane pushing when Xerxes decided to gank. It's not all the way pushed into the tower of OGs, but it's not frozen right down mid either. Sort of in that in-between where Hansama has to step forward when he does want to last hit. So it does end up getting the flash and the heal away from Vander's Yuumi too. It gives pressure through that bottom lane, forces a reset, and that means it's dragon time. It's 7 minutes on the clock as well, so very similar to how we saw Rogue make this play last game where they went for the 7-minute Drake, reset, swapped up into the Herald. OG are going to have that option available to them as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1,300 gold. This, if you turned off the nameplates, it's a fairly similar setup to the previous game, albeit with a kill in the top lane instead of the bottom. Red side get advantage, led from single plays. Alfari is going to get jumped on now. He's going to get caught up by Inspired. The flash comes out. But remember, Sejuani plus Melee does a lot. The slicing Maelstrom keeps Alfari alive. The proc from the stun catching both of them allows Alfari to escape by the skin of his teeth.
So much of that was played really well by Rogue's duo there, right? Like, Finn flashes forward to land the W. Inspired predicted with the W2, knowing that Alfari had to flash back towards his tower, but the CC there is enough to stop them from going on through, and Inspired proc the Aftershock very early, so he didn't actually have that to mitigate a lot of the tower DPS coming through. Had he been able to soak one more hit, maybe Finn rather can finish off that kill. Regardless, though, that is going to be flashes burnt both sides in the top lane, which means there is now a big magnifying glass on that lane for both of these junglers, because Xerxes has his ult up, and Inspired should be ticking over towards that as well pretty soon.
Yeah, very, very close. Inspired's currently on a Brambleback. Shouldn't be too long. Can't quite see the experience when we're watching from home. But talking about level 6s, I mean, Upset, he just hit his. Destiny just got access as well. And keeping my eyes on Xerxes, who's picking up the Rift Herald and a ward, but all of Rogue...
He just barely missed the ward with the sweeper, too. That was so close.
All of Rogue backed away, so this one will be picked up here uncontested until Lawson arrives. The package is going to give him all the movement speed he needs. I actually forgot that he was picking that one up, and we talked about just the impact it could have. Look at this. Rogue, they're challenging. They're not giving up the Herald.
And Vander actually ran all the way up on this poor little Yuumi who never builds boots. He's trying to get into the top lane. And this still turns into a win here for Origen, because yes, the Herald was stopped, was slowed down, but now Vander is stuck in the middle of the jungle. He's like, well, Hansama, I hope you didn't miss too many minions down there on the bottom side. And even if a fight had broken out, notice that because it is the fasting Senna, Destiny is rocking the TP on the Zillion. So, in the event that a topside play ever happens in the near future, there's going to be a Senna global ultimate coming in for damage and shielding for her allies, as well as a teleport into Chrono Shift to try and save OG. So they are going to be able to once again start this up on Vision. OG don't care. They still don't know that it's actually warded out, but because of the globals, they have those tools.
I would like to take a moment in a second. It looks like there's a play developing in the top lane. Inspired does have access to that ultimate, and there's no further pressure. But I do want to take a moment just to quickly throw a lens onto Upset. Upset was very fairly criticized for some decisions in team fights, especially on the Baron against Fnatic. You know, this is a player who for a long time has been trying to live up to a lot of hype, and right now Upset, with the help of the rest of the squad, will put a kill here onto Finn. But when you look at his regular season, 72% kill participation, 30% of damage share on the team. He's third as far as that's concerned, and 25% in terms of gold share. He is one of the primary carries, one of the primary reasons that OG have won late games in the past. And when you look at the series against Fnatic and some honestly monumental mistakes, that's a black mark on a player who wants titles and potentially is capable of winning those titles, but the highest pressure moments hit, you cannot afford to make mistakes.
Right, and I think Upset is an absolute monster, right? It's one of the reasons why I always say OG, I have faith in their ability to team fight, because team fights so often come down to your ADC. It's one of the most pivotal roles, knowing when to step forward or when to step back, and that sounds very simple when I say it, but it is finding, you know, the balance, tiptoeing the wire there, as it were, that I think Upset does so well. So to see him make those uncharacteristic mistakes was very surprising to me, and it cast some doubts into my mind for Origen. But this is the type of guy who is usually just so ice cold in those high pressure moments that I hope and I feel like he should be able to just wipe away last week and get back to the grind for this one. And, you know, jumping out to an early start here already in game number 2, this is the type of bounce back we need to see for OG as a whole.
I agree. And Ender, I'm going to go back to the crystal ball and ask you to give me a few more predictions. Early game you nailed. You talked about Xerxes pathing, you talked about the dive top. It wasn't a dive, it was just a straight up gank because Alfari and Xerxes had set that up beautifully. There was a great play down bottom onto Hansama. It didn't result in anything, but Xerxes making a play, so yes.
It's Dive City! It's Dive City! Here comes Xerxes!
Well, there's going to be another one. Remember, Finn just dived in the top lane, and it was to Upset as well. There should be another kill donated over, and this time it's to Alfari. I'm not going to give you a point for that prediction because it was happening during the setup. So,
oh, wait, Trevor, don't forget, I said that when Inspired ganked top lane, it was going to put a magnifying glass up there because both top laners lost their flash. What did OG do? They killed him twice. Inspired's gank, while yes, it was a good gank, and I don't want to take that away from him, it got Finn killed 2 times.
Absolutely true. And you see, this is why I need to have a color caster next to me. Can't even remember something you told me 5 minutes ago. But look, it opens up the second dragon. Cloud Drake to add to the Infernal. It's a 1-0-2 cannon, 1-0-1 Senna. That's 2 towers secured in the bottom lane. And it may be 1 picked up for Rogue, but it's a 4,000 gold lead at 13 minutes. One of the things that Origen are superior to Rogue at is when they get a lead in the early game, when their early game goes to plan, I feel that Origen are good at accelerating it up until the 20-minute mark. And that's when Origen traditionally have slowed things down, have played their mid-game a little bit more, let's say, less convincingly than the likes of G2 and Fnatic. I'm trying to choose my words.
Right.
Because it's a different style, right? And some people find it clean, some people find it slow, I don't care. Main point is, when OG do accelerate early, they are very good at generating these 4K gold leads. We've seen it plenty of times this spring.
Yeah, and it is about then extending that advantage, which I think is what you're trying to get at. And,
Thank
you. We heard the analyst test talking at length about it before the series actually got underway, where Yamato was saying, hey, it's actually, look at how this team plays around the fog board, jungle support, how do they work to sort of trick their opponents and trap them and find these picks. That's something that is a little bit lacking, but I also think it does come to how they play their lanes a little bit too, because you'll see this team often in positions where they can't generate a numbers advantage because Nuke Duck or Fowry is often a side lane farming it away. They can't coordinate it exactly perfectly every single time, and these are the windows that when you show up to a fight and you think you have the numbers advantage but you don't quite actually be able to muster it, well, either you take a bad fight and you lose, or in Origen's case, what'll often end up happening is it fizzles out, both teams sort of drop down towards the river, and then they wait for the next window where Alfari or Nuke Duck is moving off of a side lane to try and make something happen.
So how does Origen extend their lead today? We're 15 minutes in. As I mentioned,
teleport Zillion into the top lane, Trevor.
That'll unlock the 3rd tower, but what comes next on the episode of OG extending their lead?
Well, so Xerxes doing it right now, obviously, but it's about getting into the enemy jungle. And it's not just invading for buffs, but it's putting down vision. It's about taking away enemy camps, because these are the small victories you can get to start building up, and it balloons. Like, even in Game 1, Rogue were convincingly ahead in the early game, but it was 1.5 to 2K.
Yeah.
Already, Origen have built a massive advantage, and now you can see, with the vision, they've been able to take away from Origen. They flank around into this mid-lane tower. Now they have 5 people
this is
here.
Good.
This is decisive shot calling from Origen, something I have not seen too much of them so far this year, but this is exactly the play we wanted to see. Into the enemy jungle, abusing the fog war, grouping up as 5 members, using pressure in your side lanes to come and attack. That was good stuff.
And also notice again, Xerxes has been leading from the front in a lot of it. I have felt that Xerxes has been one of the primary initiators. I think you used that term in the draft as well. Get Xerxes on a champion he can start fights with. And maybe non-traditional, run, press showstopper, but it still counts, right? Xerxes is stepping forward. Xerxes has been leading the fray, 100% kill participation. Hans Summer actually gets locked down a lot of damage, so much so that Anders forced to throw out his ultimate. That was a flash forward from Hans Summer. I felt a little bit like they were chasing the loss because you still had to get through the chrono shift, but that tells you a little bit about what the mentality is like on Rogue's side. They need or want to do something.
Yeah, I mean, that was just strange, right? Like, even if you do manage to get the kill when there's a chrono shift there, like, what is that? Is that worth a flash? I'm not exactly sure right now if you are Rogue and you're just trying to sort of buckle down and keep this gold close here. That seemed way too ham in my book, especially like there's a Mikhail's Crucible. I didn't quite catch if Yumi used that, but she could have used that to break the snare going down to Hans Sama, and then maybe you look to go on forward here. Regardless, I'm scratching my head off of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a term that we don't hear too often. It's like chasing the loss. When you are behind, you're in a deficit, you want to chase something to avoid the loss. It felt like one of those plays. I mean, as it stands, yes, I think Hans Summer's doing a great job. 16 minutes, 43 seconds in the game, 170 CS to his name. There's been a couple of ganks thrown his way. He's trying to make a proactive moment, but Ezreal, Yumi, they want to get 2 to 3 items. That's when they really want to take over the game. And OG, they've got a significant lead. But how do you expect this late game to play out? Once we get to the scaling side, I feel like there's enough tools on OG's side, but how do they play it out?
Yeah, so Origen's teamfight is actually really interesting because they don't have a great primary initiator. Neither Ken doesn't really want to go in first, Set doesn't really either, as actually OG and Destiny are trying to get down here towards bot side, should be able to force them off of the tower. And the Proto Belt finished, clear wave. As a side note, I hate gunblade on Kennen. Please build a Proto Belt. Don't try to split into playing a side lane and group of the team. Just go for the team fights. And that's exactly what OG want to do. That's exactly what OG are good at doing here. So what they want to actually do is use Predator on Xerxes and Zillion speed up on the Kennen, and that's how they start a fight off. It's about being able to find flanks onto the very slippery Corki or an Ezreal, CC lock those players down, and then the team fight should be a pretty much insta-win because OG's comp has so much damage. They can snipe you with the Senna ult from very far away as well. So it really is about just run at them, get around the corners that they don't necessarily see you coming from to find the pick, and then the fight looks very good. Because if that initial jump in from a Kennen or a Set doesn't pan out all that great, well then you've got a Corki, you've got an Ezreal, a Yuumi, all very good scaling champions beating down on you as you try to run away from Rogue.
And if anybody is just joining us, OG, despite losing game one fairly convincingly, they found a number of flanks. They found a number of opportunities to get either Alfari or Nukeduck in from the side lane, or these sides of team fights and objectives, but it wasn't able to go in their advantage. So let's see what happens this time around. Nearly 20 minutes on the clock. Baron is coming up in a few minutes' time, and with the exception of Finn being turned into leather belts, handbags, and a pair of boots for all three of his deaths, everyone else on Rogue is doing pretty okay. So Rogue need to find a way back into this game. You have to imagine a teamfight around an objective is one of the tools, but what else can these players do to, maintain a hold of the series?
Well, one thing, as I see it sort of setting up here, that Rogue like to do in mid-game when they are lost is actually Inspired and Vander will team up and go and attack side lanes, and it's something you don't see a ton of other teams in our league do. They're much more, wait a second, here comes the zoomies. Xerxes running in for Larson.
Predator running forward. That's the Sejuani ultimate and a flash for just what I believe Predator. That is the most worth run I have ever seen. Rogue are running scared because they would have died if they didn't.
That Usain Bolt up at the top lane like Xerxes trying to win an Olympic medal. He's just running him down. He can't, like Larson's flying a plane and he can't escape from him.
Oh man, Xerxes still finds the engage. The railgun comes out. One more shot is all that's needed. Upset 2-0-1-1. The Rift Herald will get another charge. Despite the first attempt not working, Xerxes again flanks around the side, gets the engage with the showstopper, and finds kill number 4 for OG.
All right, I like this kind of Origin, right? Like, everyone, like, round of applause. This is what we want to be seeing. They're just absolutely smashing Rogue because, honestly, Rogue's comp feels a little bit like what OG had in the last one, where they have good scaling options, but it's hard for them to force a fight, especially from a deficit. They don't want to be the ones going forward. They're going for the scaling. They just finished, like, look at the items between Corki and Ezreal right now. It's comical. They're going for the scaling. They have the Miramanas, right? So, like, time is what they need, but again, they're looking at a Mountain Soul spawning in 4 minutes here, so we'll watch this play one more time because Xerxes just picks up Inspired to try and get over towards Larson, who again has no summoner spells, and that's how he bypasses the lack of like gap close, right? First it's the Predator, then it's ulting the frontliner just to get on top of the backliner, and a very nice combo there. As we mentioned before, the range of Senna's ultimate to snipe and finish off those kills is something that is going to be lethal to Rogue in these later fights.
And it's fantastic to see when Origen do get ahead, they accelerate it, they extend that advantage. That was the phrase I was looking for, and I just could not find it earlier. And it's also important to remember that, like, this series is an elimination match. Whoever loses is done. The winner goes on to play on Sunday against G2, but there is a lot on the line here. And I want to see how the series now continues to develop. The team that has got ahead early in Game 1 and Game 2 has been able to accelerate to the point that there's a lot of faith and confidence they will win the game. I mean, Origen, 6,500 gold up, 1.5 minutes away from the Mountain Soul. They can play around Baron if they want, but what will be more impressive or interesting is whether or not they decide to peel. Good luck getting past Kennen, Cassio, Zillion bombs if you want to try to stop that. And for OG, it's day and night. If you turn the name tags off, you wouldn't believe it was the same team as Game 1.
No, you wouldn't. This team is playing completely together. It is really solid League of Legends as Xerxes runs on in here to try and find the pick. We'll end up taking a whole bunch of damage. But these are the moves that we want to see from them. Again, it's the side lane pressure, right? You have Nuke Duck and Alphari push out those sides and then collapse in towards mid. And even in this situation, it wasn't like, I think it was Nuke Duck who was topside. He didn't actually full push that second wave. His team was calling, we can find a fight in mid lane, so he left. And that is something that I have not seen enough from this team so far this split, and that is a very, very good sign for Origen.
Yeah, it really, really is. Chrono Shift was used there by Destiny, so he should have enough rewinds, I think, to get that available before the next Dragon fight. 1 tower is all Origen have conceded in the bottom lane. 0 kills. And they've picked up 4. I mean, it is just a dominant performance in Game 2. They are looking for a game-winning moment as now Hansama goes forward. Inspired between the uprights. My man, that prison did not lock anybody in. He will be sent to the Gulag to look for another fight. And Alphari, on the other hand, he just blows up Larson. Nobicon and the Proto Belt will do it justice.
Well, Rogue tried, but it did not work. OG just slapped them down right there. They didn't get the kill in the mid lane, but they forced Inspired away, and Alphari just finds a solo kill onto Larson right there. It is just not even close with this Kennen on 2.5 items right now at this point in the game. He's going to win any fight he takes against Larson. So, hey, folks, that's going to be the Mountain Soul going over into the hands of Origen in this game. And, like, say what you will about the way in which they play. This is a game where you cannot fault Origen. Rather, like, I know the Borgen memes are out there, but it's not like they're playing slow. They haven't gotten a lot of kills, but that's because Rogue have not just ran into them randomly, apart from this point right here. And a good TP from Alphari. He was going for Ansama, finds a random Corki in the topside jungle without a flash, is going to be very happy with that one themselves. But no, Origen have been playing very strong control League of Legends, vision inside the enemy jungle, denying away camps, playing well around their minion waves, well around vision. This is a good look from them, so I don't want to see the memes in this game. Game 1,
I agree.
They deserved it. Game 1,
they deserved it.
This one, no, not so much.
And I have flashbacks to when Origen smashed Misfits in the second round robin, where it's a similar thing, where like Xerxes just popped off, led from the front, got like a whole bunch of kills, and they destroyed Misfits, like so quickly, so dominantly. And even though that game had more kills, it was just, there's been 5 towers killed, 4 dragons picked up, 5 kills as well in 20 minutes. There's always been something that OG are pushing forward and playing for. But anyways, it's great. I need to zoom out and just say something that I need you to help me understand.
Okay.
First pick Renekton, to my eyes, sucks, right? I did not see Alphari do anything in Game 1. I'm not seeing enough from Finn to buy into it. Like, is this a gold thing that, like, I'm not understanding something, or, like, is it just not working at this level?
Look, Trevor, you don't have to be gold to understand that this champion can be punished really easily. Like, look, like, Renekton can be a good champion. I have no doubt in my mind, but it's just not working here. And Xerxes once again finds out Inspired as we get a little bit of a turn.
Ooh, can Rogue turn this one around? They've got themselves some CC. Xerxes in trouble. Chrono Shift comes down, though, and that's going to be enough time for the rest of OG to arrive. I started to get my hopes up. But remember, Ocean Soul has already been picked up. Elder's in 4 minutes. Baron's available, and OG, they get away scot-free. Going back to the Renekton points.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to stop Origen from getting a perfect game this time is actually the 1 tower that they lost.
Yeah.
Like, I actually, with the Zillion, I don't think anyone's dying this time around. There just simply isn't the damage. And now you have a Mountain Soul on top of that. Like, everyone's building, like, there's resistances, too, being built up by Alphari and Xerxes. They're going to be super tanks, and they're just going to duo this one away.
I've got the one-liner to best summarize this game, all right?
Hit me.
Bear with me. Okay, so drum roll. If it wasn't for the single tower, this would be a perfect game for Origen. There we go. See what I mean? It's like one of those black and white motivational posters. If it wasn't for 1 tower, they would have got the perfect game. It's next level. I know.
Did I not just say that?
You did, but I did a much better delivery, my man. So
wait, that's only because I was rolling the drums. It was all me, man.
What does this mean now when we look forward? I mean, with Baron picked up, super safe. This is pretty much OG in the bag. Draft again has kind of felt like super pivotal to me. The set jungle, working with the cannon, unlocked Upset in the bottom lane. I mean, Upset then roamed around to find kills. Nukeduck is playing PvE. I'm not sure he got the note that this is a PvP server. Doesn't matter for now. But like, to me, Red Side Draft has sort of won both games.
Right. So there's a couple things here that I think we need to unpack. The first is while I don't love the Renekton pick, it is not the reason why either of these two teams have lost their games. Like, I think there are better options out there. I don't think the priority is necessarily justified, especially off of what we've seen. Like, if you just literally look at how Renekton has performed in the last, like, 3 weeks globally, like, you can probably, like, learn something with that pick. But what I will say is I do not like Yuumi in the bottom lane. Because, like, you're picking all scaling next to a Renekton. And I wonder, why do you do that? It just doesn't make sense to me. The Renekton pick does not fall into the same line the rest of the picks in the draft are going for. So either you go for an Ornn in the top lane, obviously that ended up being banned, or something different because it doesn't quite make sense. And I personally want to see playmakers in the bot lane because the team that's had, you know, the ability to like basically run into the enemy jungle unabashed has been able to take full control. And as you can see now, Rogue just have nothing they can do because they have one champion that can engage a fight, and that's a Sejuani. And if you engage onto one person, they get Zillion ulted, and there's nothing you can do.
Well, there is the engage. Finn's going to go forward. Nukeduck is in a little bit of trouble as the slice and dice goes out. Xerxes done enough damage to keep Hans Sama away. The railgun comes down. That keeps Nukeduck alive long enough to kill Finn. That's his 4th death of the game. Welcome to the Rift, Nukeduck. The rest of Origen will take down an inhibitor in the top lane. Nukeduck continues to be chased down. The miasma comes out. He is exhausted. He's grounded Hans Sama. We're going to flash forward, and that's it. All of the damage from the Noxious and the Twin Fangs means Nukeduck gets a 1v3, albeit they came at him one by one. Nevertheless, Origen 8 kills to their name, and they are going for the almost perfect game. That's the 9th kill. The Nexus down, and they were 1 tower away from perfect. Ender, you predicted it, you called it. 29 minutes. OG, that a fantastic game.